Good afternoon. Welcome to another Career Services Q&A session. Today we're going to be covering references and recommendations to include with your job applications. First, we should be concerned about our formatting. To format your references and recommendations, you need to format them to match your resume and cover letter. You should include the same header and contact information that you have on your resume and cover letter so that your references look like a cohesive set with the other two. You'll also include the title references to show the employer what these people's contact information is meant to be. You should only give out references when they're asked for. Employers know to ask for them. You should not include them on your resume because we want to protect our references' contact information. Do not upload references to job boards where you're just leaving them open for anyone to find. So you want to make sure that you're only submitting them when an employer has asked specifically for these references. You should always have 3 to 5 references ready to submit with your application. They must be professional contacts of yours, such as professors, supervisors, coworkers, but not your family or friends. So look for character references who know you well and who can talk to you as a professional person and tell the employer of the skills you have, but are not your friends or family who may be a little bit more biased about who you are as a person. Be sure to ask your references before including them. This way they know that you're looking for a job and can be ready for that phone call and not be surprised when they receive one. And this way you can also update the contact information for them. So maybe they've changed their phone number or have a new email address or have changed companies that they work for, and you want to make sure that you update all of that. This picture shows you the anatomy of a great reference sheet, and it says to include your name and contact information like before, your references information such as their name, title, the company they work for, and their email and phone number, plus how you know them. The list of references is you would list them from the most important person to the least important in terms of the job you're applying for. So maybe if you're applying for a job out of college, then a professor who recently worked with you in a capstone class would be a great reference to have listed first because they know you as a professional person. Or maybe the person who you did your internship with would be the most important for that employer to contact. So you would want to list them first. Going back to what to include in your reference list, as I've already said, you want to include their name. So what is their full name? Their position, so what is their title? And then what company do they work for? So this would be their recent information. Even if it's not the company that you worked with them through, list their current company. Include their address, at least city and state. So you don't have to include a full mailing address because they're not likely to email or mail them anything through the actual mail anymore. It's probably going to be an email or talking to them on the phone. So you'd include their phone number so that they can call them and ask and have a conversation about you and your qualifications. You could also send them an email or give their email so the employer can reach out through email to set up a time to make that phone call. And then you would also give a description of how you knew this person so the employer knows why they should speak to them and what they would speak to them about. Again, you need to tell your references the job that you're applying for and when it will close. So usually there's a closing date included in the application saying you need to submit by this date, and you want to let the references know when that date is because they should be looking for that phone call to come in maybe a little bit before that last day or soon after. You want to make sure to thank your references for their help. They don't have to do this for you, and that's why you're asking them. And if they agree to, then you definitely need to thank them because it's a big deal, and they're willing to put their word on the line to help you get this job. You should also keep them informed. So if you get the job or have an interview, you need to let them know that. You also need to let them know if you got rejected so that they don't have to worry about the phone calls anymore or be waiting for those. And then you also should ask them each time you apply. So even though they've said they'd be your reference for one job, you need to make sure you re-ask for the next job you apply for, just to make sure that they're comfortable still helping you with that. Moving on to recommendation letters. So employers may also ask for recommendation letters that are written by someone who knows you well. So you want to make sure that you ask people who do actually know you well and can vouch for you and give legitimate descriptions of your work ethic and the qualifications that you have. You also want to pick a variety of people. So like your references, you want people who know you from different backgrounds, professors, coworkers, supervisors, who can each speak to a different strength that you have. So maybe someone knows you a little bit more personally than your professor does, but your professor knows your academics better than your supervisor does. So you want to choose people who can highlight different strengths and give the employer a fuller picture of who you are. When you ask for recommendations, you need to actually ask. So go in person and ask the person you want a recommendation from if they would mind writing that letter for you. You want to ask in advance and give them about 3 weeks minimum to write this letter. Professionals are busy in their own work, and adding this on extra is a great thing for you, but they need time to be able to do that. So give them plenty of time to work on that letter for you. Again, you need to ask in person so that they can see your face and your sincerity when you're asking and be able to give you an answer. And then finally, ask one-on-one. Don't go with a friend to ask, or even if the friend wants to ask for the letter from the same person, you need to ask one-on-one so that if they agree to write one for you but aren't comfortable writing one for your friend, it's not awkward for your reference. You need to provide writers with several things. You should give this person an up-to-date resume so they can see what you've been doing and have some experiences to draw from. You need to tell them about your current role or what you're doing now, what the recommendation is for, so that they can write it more specific to that position. You should tell them why you're qualified for the job, any relevant work habits, academic successes, or skills, as well as a requested due date if needed. So if you know it's due in 3 weeks, then you want to make sure that you tell them the date that you have to have it by. And you might give them a little extra time. So if it's due, say 4 weeks out, you would tell them the due date is about 3 weeks out. That way you have an extra week in case they need a little extra time. And all of this information will help them write a great letter for you because they'll have things to draw off of and make sure that they can speak accurately about what you've been up to if they don't know the full picture. And then here is a recommendation letter request that you could write through an email. You should ask in person, but if you needed to email them, you could use this as an example. You could also use this as a template or so to help you figure out how to ask them in person for the recommendation letter. I also have a thank you note / email template for you. You should always write thank you letters after interviews. You can also write thank you letters to any professionals who help you along the way. And you should start with a greeting, dear whoever. Make sure you share your gratitude with examples. So tell them, thank you so much for helping me with this recommendation letter for such and such company. Include any details from your conversations. So give them specifics to show them you're paying attention and that you're writing this letter specifically to them and isn't just a blanket thank you that you're sending to other people as well. Close with additional thoughts or information. So maybe you got the job or you're still waiting to hear back. That's a good time to update them. And then you can end with a polite closing such as sincerely. So that template is there for you to look back at as well. And then remember, for references, you need to ask before including them in your references page. You don't want anyone to receive a phone call and they'll be like, oh, I had no idea. Because it doesn't look good on you not to have asked this person who's going to hopefully vouch for you. You should have 3 to 5 references with various backgrounds and relationships to you. Some employers will ask for 3, some will ask for 5, and having them ready to go will help you a lot when you apply, so you don't have to spend a lot of time looking for people to be references for you. You want to format it to match your resume and cover letter. Again, we want it to look like a cohesive set. You need to include a short description of how you know this person. Were they your supervisor? Were they a professor of yours? How long have you known them? Include that short description to help the employer know who they should call and what kind of questions they should ask. And then protect your references' contact information by only giving it out when it's been asked for. Again, do not include it in your resume or post it on an open job board for any stranger to find. And then keep your references informed. So again, follow up with them and let them know, oh, I've got an interview set for such and such date, or tell them that you've received the job, or maybe that you had been rejected, but keep them informed so they can continue to wait for that phone call or not. For recommendation letters, remember to ask in advance and give them at least 3 weeks to write the letter. Again, professionals are busy and they may have to work it into their schedule, so they need plenty of time to be able to write that for you. Give them any needed information, such as your resume and things like that will help them write the letter. Choose a variety of people. Again, a supervisor knows your work ethic and how you are as an employee, but your professor knows your academic life and how you are as a student. So use those various backgrounds to your advantage. Let them know how to get the letter to you or the employer. So if you want them to email it to you and you'll print it, fine. If they'd like to come pick it up from you, or if you want to come pick it up from them in the future, let them know that as well. Be sure to write thank you notes. You can write them by hand or as an email, but be sure to thank the references and recommendations that you've received. And keep them up to date as well. So tell them how your job search is going and if you've been accepted, rejected, or are still waiting. So keep them updated until the job search is over. And as always, Career Services is here to help. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can call us at our phone number. You can make an appointment and handshake for some help or advice. Or you can email career.services@atu.edu to set up an appointment and receive help. Or you can also follow us on any of our social medias, such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, to get some tips and tricks from those social media platforms.